You're listening to the Turi Writers She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. This podcast contains a fair bit of complaining, so if you're just not in the mood, maybe skip it for a while. Also, it's very difficult for two people to fit into the same pair of pants at the same time. But two people fitting into the same name at the same time, that happens a lot. What a miserable day so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had made an appointment to get the dog her shots. This is what privilege / misery looks like. We do have two cars. One of them is 40 years old. The other one is 20 years old. We call that the new car. The new car is in the shop because I had to finally square with my conscience the fact that even though I don't really care what it looks like, it's a bad idea to have the bumper dragging along the ground with duct tape hanging off of it.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like that look.
Yeah, I could see that. But in this case, we have people coming for Thanksgiving, and I thought it behooved me to put them in something that, while dented up, rusty, and noisy, nevertheless didn't have its rear bumper dragging along the streets of Chicago with duct tape hanging off of it. So that vehicle got sent to the body shop, which leaves me driving the 1986 Supra, which is great unless it's raining because the sunroof doesn't quite sit properly. So you get a little bath when you send it through the car wash. I know that your kids had the battle stations to man when you had the minivan, one of the early generation of minivans.
You killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah, inside wash, outside wash, kids bath, all of it. Yeah,
yep.
Woo! But you may know that Zara, our German Shepherd, has a real hatred of cars. And I had no choice but to put her in the Supra to take her to the vet for these shots, which meant that when she went crazy, instead of being in the back of a minivan, she's directly in my ear. So I got the bath from driving the car in the rain, and then I realized that there's some construction going on across the alley behind us. They like to regard the alley now directly behind our garage as their impromptu auto shop and parking space. Right. The last time I asked them to kindly move, one guy came out and swore at me holding a little white dog, and he must have been having a worse day than I was having, because he comes out there and he goes, "Don't you start with me." And while he's yelling at this, he's holding this tiny white dog, and I'm thinking, this doesn't work with your demeanor. Usually, if you honk, they do come and move their vehicles so that you can back the bleep out of the garage.
Right.
But not today. You remember that kid game Operation where if you touch the sides, everything lights up and you lose?
Oh, yeah. That was my favorite game when I was a kid.
Yeah, you like electrocuting things. I know you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So
yes, I get that.
It was a little bit like the game Operation, where if you touch the sides of anything, all hell broke loose, nose lit up, dog going crazy. That's what it was like getting the car out of the garage. And then I did a thing I never normally do. I ratted out this truck to the police, and I thought, this will teach them a lesson. And I got back, and nothing had changed. And I had to pull the damn gun. Then I was even madder. I mean, if they lived there, I would be nicer.
How did you get it in your garage?
About 40 minutes of cursing and dogs barking, and it was awful. And twice today I've had to change my socks because my boots are not waterproof. And
maybe you should invest.
Well, I have some
rubber
boots that are more waterproof, but they're for colder. I mean, we're in that intermediate Chicago zone where it's like the opposite of the Goldilocks thing. This sidewalk is too wet. This sidewalk is too leaf-strewn. This sidewalk is just right. Well, right now, nothing is just right.
Well, it's blustery here. We have winter. And Jerry Dingus Garcia got his first snow this weekend.
Oh.
And it's bad enough trying to housebreak a puppy when it's not snowing.
Right.
I love him. He's so cute. And he's a sweet little
I
baby.
knew this was
But I
okay.
have
All
one.
right, here it comes. Oh yeah, I love him, but I
No,
love him. I heard
but
this about Butters too. Butters the
no,
onion.
this is a good thing.
Okay,
This is a good thing, but
okay,
it's not a good thing.
okay.
In the last 7 days, I have averaged 2.5 miles walking per day trying to get this puppy to poop outside. And I've even sang him the Shapoopy song several times. And, and I'm like, so yeah,
Oh.
I got to go buy some cheap hot dogs, I guess, but puppy treats are not working. He just looks at me with this blank look, but he knows how to sit. He knows how to come.
Yeah, I don't really
But
give a crap about sit and I care about where they poop. That's to me, that's the demilitarized zone line right there. The other
he's
side of
working at
that,
it.
other side of that, things start exploding around here.
We walked on, I think it was Saturday. That's when it was snowing like all day.
Yeah.
And we walked for over an hour of trying to get him to poop outside. And I finally took him back to the pet cemetery to like pay homage to his ancestors. And I was hoping that they would pop up like a Disney cartoon and tell him to poop outside
Uh-huh.
in some fantastic poop outside song.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hasn't happened yet. And I know that I'm doing it right. I know that I am doing this right because I looked it up 100 times
I think the
every
proof.
day.
I think the proof that you're doing it right is when they freaking poop outside. I think that's the test, isn't it?
It is kind of, yeah. And I would love to be able to just let him, follow Butters out on the back deck, go down the stairs and go
But,
to the dog yard.
but
But he eats goat poop, and that's not good.
that's not going to change, you know.
Yeah, it will change because I'm going to put hot sauce on a pile of goat poop.
I
and
heard
then
that
say,
a few
"Here."
weeks ago. I haven't seen you out there with
I
any
haven't been to the grocery
picante
store.
poop out there. None of that.
I have to go buy some hot sauce that won't kill him. The only hot sauce on the property belongs to Josh, who grew up in a Mexican family and eats all his food so hot that I can't even smell it.
You know what's really fun to mess with a Mexican family is to have a kid in your Anglo-looking family who eats things really, really hot. We had people working around the property in Oakland, and they had hot sauce with them. And the little cutie, the small cutie, brought his lunch out to the picnic table on the porch and asked if he could try their hot sauce. And they tried to warn him. And we said, no, he'll probably like it. And he put the hot sauce on, and all four of the crew, eyes glued to the small cutie, who ingested a bite and then put on more. And I think they would have fallen right off their benches if they could have. Yeah.
Yeah, Eve used to make this salsa with ghost peppers.
Oh, yes. The spousal unit
he-
grows those.
Even smelling them like make my eyes water.
He's not allowed to make those salsas in the house with the windows closed. He's required to open up all the windows because
My diet is what you would call bland.
yeah, cottage cheese is spicy to you. I know.
Yeah,
I
cottage
come
cheese, mashed potatoes,
white food. You're like the
noodles.
John McLaughlin for a while. Remember the artist John McLaughlin?
Yeah,
He was following the Maharishi for a while, and for some weird reason, he was eating only white foods. And I just thought, I don't know what the Maharishi has to do with this. I think this is just that you don't want to eat anything that's not white food. And I think I've mentioned to you that back when I was dating, how a guy ate and what a guy ate was definitely part of my calculus as to whether
Yes.
I could continue seeing him or not. Yeah.
well, Frankie doesn't really complain about anything that I
Oh,
cook.
He's a solid guy, and probably anything short of goat poop covered with salsa will be all right with him.
I don't know. I
Why,
don't know
are you
about that.
considering feeding Frankie goat poop covered with salsa?
Tonight we're having tamales.
Do you make that yourself from scratch?
No, no. One of the this was Eve's last weekend at the bar,
Ah,
at the bar slash fancy restaurant.
yes.
Somebody brought tamales, So she brought them home and put them in the fridge, and we're having a tamale party.
Do you feel compelled to make her a gift cake of some sort?
Oh, no, no, they had a party at work for her.
Then you don't feel like you need to continue that celebration at your own house.
I'm celebrating in my mind. I'm like, good, you can start paying me back.
Yeah.
For all the vet visits
Yeah.
and the gas and everything else that I've been helping you pay for.
Careful. You know me. I'm very, very cautious until it happens.
That's true.
It's like I remember one time I was flown to Detroit for a job interview back when Detroit was still a big city, and it would have been a morning show, and they took me all around the city and they put me in a fancy hotel, and we discussed money, and then I flew back to California, and then I never heard from them again. So I've just learned over the years, and I wondered to myself all this time, like, what did I do? Was it the fact that I asked if I could take home the fancy toiletries from the hotel? I mean, I don't know but what I do know is that until you're actually doing the thing, well, and the converse of that, a friend of mine on Instagram posted her adventurous weekend watching her kid play volleyball for 2 solid days, and so she did nothing else all weekend, and so she's not going to buy the shirt that says volleyball mom. And I wrote to her, if you do the thing, actually do the thing, you don't need to buy the shirt. If you buy the shirt, it's probably that you didn't do the thing. Wouldn't you say?
I'm wearing a shirt that says, trust us, Shady Records Detroit.
Yeah, because no one can trust you. Yeah. You're not trustworthy. All the political shirts that I bought, American Union made shirts, which are sort of collector's items now.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Again, if the thing happens, you don't need the shirt. You just have the thing. But if the thing doesn't happen, it's, I suppose, a second best thing to have the shirt. It means you tried.
Well, I think that she's in.
I'm just a nervous person until the paycheck, the first paycheck. I don't relax. And then because I'm in radio, I never relax.
Radio's different. You can never relax in radio.
Yeah, well, now you can just relax and know that you have no job. That's kind of there are no jobs.
Yeah. I have moved so much because of changing formats or new owners. It feels good not to do that anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of media jobs, I have some radio time coming up, and I invited a guy to be a guest who wrote this beautiful piece about being let go because your job's going to be done by AI. You have to really be careful on social media. The guy I'm going to interview, let's just say his name is Bob Jones. It's not, but let's say. And he's worked at a bunch of brand name radio stations, networks, big cities. He writes this piece. Everybody in the business passes it around because it's so beautiful. And one person replies on his LinkedIn page, I'm amazed that you would write this piece considering how many people you laid off when you were running name of large broadcasting company. And he writes back, you've got the wrong Bob Jones. That's the other Bob Jones.
Noise.
This is the problem with everybody in radio having the same damn name, right?
Yeah.
Mark, St. Bob, they're all the same. So, it was one of those moments. And then I had to get a hold of everybody who had sent this article to me going, do you know it's the other Bob Jones that wrote this? Not pandemonium has ensued. It's all a mess now. It's like a big tangled ball of Bob Joneses.
Yeah, it's the other Bob Jones.
The other Bob Jones, right?
Hey, at least we don't have to worry about any other Marcy Persky's and Terry Riders, right?
Thank God. That is one good thing about having names that no one can spell and or pronounce. Thanks for listening to the Turi Writers She Said What podcast. Since you've made it to the end, you might want to know that my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air, is not only available in print, but now also in complete audiobook form, narrated by me and available on Audible.